Hello, folks. I don't have very many viewers, so I don't expect a live stream. I've been gone for a while, but there's some real exciting shit happening in boxing today. Mike Tyson kind of instigated and urged um, Ryan Garcia and Tank to actually um, say seriously that they're going to that their next fight's going to be against each other. I like the way that whole thing went down. Now these, you know, I think Tank wants to get himself in fights that Mayweather was stopping. Tank, Garcia, and some of these boys today are throwbacks to my era, the 70s and 80s and 90s. But everybody thinks the 90s was such a great era for boxing. It's better in the 80s, but to me, it's like a silver age. The 70s was the golden age for heavyweights. The 80s was the golden age for lighter weights. The 80s had the best welterweights, middleweights, all the way fucking down to featherweights. Salvador Sanchez. You had just a plethora of some fucking great fighters in the 80s on the lower weights. The best, I say, of any time except for maybe the 40s, maybe. As far as the lighter weights go. Um, but guys like Ryan Garcia, I say Ryan Garcia and Tank uh, Gavante Davis, these guys are throwbacks. I'm not going to say, well, maybe T.O., but T.O. won't fight Devin Haney. I don't know if it's because of his management, his promotion, or whatever. But I want to put T.O. in there, but he seems reluctant to fight Haney. Um, what I am going to say is that it's the heavyweights, okay? Anthony Joshua did duck Wilder, okay? But I think after Anthony Joshua lost that fight to Ruiz, he got a little bold. And Anthony Joshua, his last fight with what the fuck that boy name? I forget. Anyway, his last fight, he looked great. He didn't like Ali or nothing, or poor man's Ali, but he still looked good for heavyweights today. That boy got power. He's smart, and he got boxing ability. The way he fights now is the way I used to fight. I sparred over 200 times or more. And that's how I did a lot of, I can fight on the back foot. I don't know if he can. I can fight on the back foot and I can come and get your ass too. But he's looking great. Tyson Fury, we know, is set to be an all-time great if he stopped that goddamn cheating. The only thing he needs to stop that gypsy cultural piece idea of always cheating, and it's real because I know gypsies. I lived around gypsies, not too far from gypsies, and I did bad things with gypsies when I was a young guy. Okay, I worked in prisons and there were gypsies, always doing like cheating type shit. So don't tell me they don't that I'm racist or whatever. I'm not. I'm just telling you. Just like you say in the 80s, 90s, niggas were the biggest dope, the most dope dealers in this country. That's true. The first big dope dealer in this country was Ricky Ross. He was a huge dealer. He's probably the biggest black dope dealer ever. I think this cat may have made $1 billion once, but the CIA brought the shit in so that they could destroy the Sandinistas and that Cold War bullshit. But I'm not. That's a digression. So the biggest dope peddlers was really the U.S. government, but niggas were the second. Okay, the blacks. You tell me blacks didn't do that shit and wasn't killing each other wildly then, I tell you a fucking lie. Because I worked in the prisons. I lived in the neighborhoods. I grew up whooping motherfuckers' asses that later on was on death row, a couple in my city. All right. Now I'm telling you, yeah, gypsies, their whole culture for 1,000 years have been to cheat, steal, deceive. That's true. That's part of their culture. All right. Now, with that said, if Tyson Fury can overcome that and he comes to America, he don't have to do that because in America, he ain't no gypsy. He's a white boy. The first time I ever seen white gypsies was with the social media thing, and Tyson Fury came to the fore, and his cousin, what the hell that boy's name? That middleweight, fuck, I can't. So he sounded like a hillbilly name. Forgot his fucking name. And his other cousin Huey. Okay, they cheat. They take PEDs and shit like that, and do other shit. Okay, now Tyson Fury stops and deceased from that shit. He can go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time, heavyweights of all time. Do I compare him to Ali in a poor man sort of way? Ali beat the big bear to take the title. Tyson whooped Klitschko, Vladimir, to take the title. Ali came back after 2 or 3 years of exile um, to defeat George Foreman. No, more than that, about 4 or 5 years of exile, right? No, 2 or 3 years of exile to eventually defeat George Foreman. Okay, but that was 5 years after his exile, I think, or more. I think it was 8 years after the exile. He got exiled in what, 68, 68. Okay, anyway, Tyson Fury came back after being away, exiled from boxing for 3 years because he had PEDs in his system and cocaine in his system. And he came back to defeat Wilder, another big bad bear, another intimidating, powerful puncher, maybe the most powerful one-punch knockout artist of them all. But the way Tyson defeated Tyson is funky at best. That there's no denying that goddamn right glove had the padding on the side of the fist and on the knuckles. But Tyson Fury did not cheat technically. The WBC cheated by allowing him to have those gloves. And Wilder's corner didn't notice it. Okay? Tyson Fury did this before when he fought some guy in England and he fought a quick, close decision with the guy. The second time, he had these gloves on, type of gloves, with no pad on the knuckles, and the guy's corner caught it. But since the guy had signed a contract already, and Tyson Fury threatened to sue the guy, the guy could not demand Fury take the gloves off, and the guy could not use the same type of gloves, but had to use the gloves that he agreed on. Somebody didn't read the fine printing in that contract. That's why when you get a manager, you always make sure he's worth his weight in gold. He's worth his weight in salt. Okay, and Tyson Fury knocked the guy out of England in the second fight after he decisioned him, a hard fought decision in the first fight. And Tyson Fury, not known to be a puncher, all of a sudden became a big puncher in that fight, the same way he did with Wilder after fighting a draw with Wilder and came back with these funky gloves and put Wilder out. Plus, as I said in another video, I think Wilder may have been suffering from an early case of COVID-19 because when Wilder fought Fury is when COVID-19 first really hit America. I don't know if it hit the week before or the week after, but it was around that time. And I noticed that a lot of NFL athletes have had COVID, and it didn't affect them as much because they're big, strong, young, strapping men. These athletes are almost like superheroes. I was one of them. Even though you never heard of me, I've had some fights. And I fought 3-4 motherfuckers to a standstill. I'm 6'5", 260 pounds. And I can fight, I can move, I can jab, I can box, I can fight going backwards, and I can come get your ass too. I used to could. I'm 55 now and on dialysis. I can't do none of that shit no more. If I bust a good nut in my woman, I'm through for a week. Dialysis take a lot out of your ass. Trust me. But it's neither there, here nor there. What I want to say is I'm really excited about a Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. And I'm gonna tell you why. Gervonta Davis is further along in his career and his technique than Ryan is. He's had more fights than Ryan. I believe he's older by a few years, but he's had more fights than Ryan. He's more developed in what he does than Ryan. But Ryan Garcia have some natural abilities uh, and some natural advantages that Gervonta Davis does not have. Ryan Garcia is taller, much taller than Gervonta Davis. He's very fast. Tank is no slowpoke, but Davis is very fast. But Gervonta Davis, for what he does, has better footwork than Ryan. Ryan is very fast of hand. He hits hard. When I first saw Ryan Garcia not fight, I said, "Oh no, Tank can't whoop this motherfucker. Motherfucker smooth, kind of smooth a little bit." But then when I saw Davis fight, what's his boy England? He just knocked out Liam, whatever the fuck. When I saw him fight him, he got caught with a left because Liam is a softy. So is Davis. And so I said, "Oh, he's susceptible to a straight left from a southie. Was it a left or a right hook from a southie? The way Liam played it to the body and come up to the head with that right hook. Gervonta Davis, if he catches Garcia like that, he's not gonna get up. I don't believe. But Liam caught Ryan Garcia because he's tall, a little bit an inch taller than Ryan. He's up there with him. Tank is down here. And when Tank fought this other boy, god damn, I can't remember the names. Tank just fought this other boy and damn near killed him one punch. That guy was a little bit faster than Garcia, but he didn't have a punch. And he was taller than Tank, and Tank was catching it all night until he caught him. But Tank has a hell of a fucking beard. Liam had a beard too, but I don't think he had the beard Tank had. Because I don't think there's no way Lomachenko would put Tank down. But I don't know. Maybe he can. Maybe he could. Okay. What was that? I like the way he put that Liam kid down. Lomachenko put that Liam kid down. I don't know. I mean, what's his face? Garcia hits much harder than Lomachenko or this guy that Tank just fought. Damn, I can't remember that Tank knocked out. Okay, so I don't know how much he'll hurt Tank, but Tank is much shorter, so it'll be much harder and take longer for him to catch Garcia with that right hook. But Garcia can be caught with the right hook. Because I fought softball, I boxed softball before, and they was catching me, and I realized, god damn, he's a softball, and I got him in the corner and just beat the shit out of him, didn't let him out. Now it'll take Tank much longer to get Ryan, but I believe eventually, if he can stand up, he will catch Ryan, because Ryan can be caught by a southpaw. He loses himself when he gets to throwing, and he doesn't, and he'll get caught eventually, even though Tank is much shorter. Now, if Ryan can keep his composure and remember that, and somewhere and keep, maybe not, I say fight him on the back foot with a jab, but he don't fight like that. All he has to do is maintain his distance in the middle of the ring. Like if it's a tornado, where are you safe as that? In the eye of a tornado because everything's going around you. If Garcia can keep a certain distance from Tank, he can catch him with that right hand continuously. Because the southpaw is a sucker for the right. He will get hit. I don't care how smooth, I don't care how good. And Gervonta Davis is smooth for what he does. I mean, he's not a boxer like moving it. He doesn't have the capabilities for that. He's a short guy with short, stubby legs, short, stubby arms. He's not. I don't care what we call for him as a boxer. It's not like a guy out boxer who a smooth out boxer. But I still think that Tank could develop a jab because the jab in his timing. If he can develop a jab between now and the time he fights Ryan Garcia, he has a better shot at beating him. Okay, I'm gonna give Ryan Garcia the edge because of the advantages I just see it. His height and his speed, and he has more power. And the boy Tank just knocked out. I'm gonna give him. I don't fucking know. Well, I don't know. Um, I'm gonna give him a 5% shot over Tank. Maybe okay. All right. Maybe 10% if you're talking about decision. Now let's get to the next fight I talked about. Joshua and Fury. Okay. People talk about, well, at first when you saw Fury, you think he was a bum. But people thought the same of Ali. And Ali, like Fury, fought to his level of opponent. Guys that Ali that you would think, how the hell he hang with Ali? Hung with Ali. But the real big bad guys, Ali whooped the hell out of him. Frazier was his toughest fight, and that was the toughest heavyweight fight I've ever seen. The toughest fight I ever seen was Arguello Pryor. But the toughest and most damaging heavyweight fight I seen was Frazier Ali. They beat the hell out of each other. Okay. But Ali, like Tyson Fury, fought to the level of his opponent. When Tyson Fury fought this guy, what the hell is his name? From Sweden or some goddamn where. When he fought him, the guy busted his eye. But the guy was a southpaw. Don't forget that. Wilder, Otter Wilder, whatever the fuck. The Otter Man, the Otter Man. And there's been other guys, Tyson Fury, barely decision. That was like, I don't want to call no heavyweight that step in there and that's in the top 20 a bum, but you did my drill. But when Tyson Fury fought Wilder, even though I believe he cheated, he came in there and he fought a great fight. The first fight was a great fight. And when he beat Klitschko, it was the most boring fucking heavyweight fight I ever seen. And I hated it for years until I really sat down and watched what Fury did. He beat one of the, even though what's his name was very boring and lackluster, Klitschko. He was a hard hitting motherfucker, and I think he was a gold medalist maybe or whatever. And he could fight. See, a lot of times big men look like they can't fight because of massive size, but they can fight. Okay? They're not going to be as fluid as little guys, but in strength and power and length, they make up for it. Okay? So he beat arguably, well, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Even though he fought in a time with a heavyweight, probably the biggest bums ever in the heavyweight division. Except for maybe the time of, well, I don't know, the time Marciano had some good fighters. But I mean, he fought guys at a time that the guys were sorry than they were in the 80s and Larry Holmes era. And they were sorry. Well, that was a copper age of heavyweights. maybe not even a Copper age. Okay, Larry Holmes age. But the Klitschko's fought the biggest bums ever in the heavyweight division. But still they don't take nothing away from them. They can't help who they fought. Vladimir, now what's the other boy's name? Vitaly Klitschko had a fucking great chin because he fought Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis could punch. And he caught Vitaly with all kinds of shit. He had a great beard, and he knew how to use his height, even though he looked so weird in there, the way he fought. He like a German doing sprockets on a Sunday line. Real, more than enough of the awkward meal. Really, I don't know how to put it. Do funny type of rhythm and movement. Very weird, like a bum, like a street guy fighter. But he knocked your ass. But he was a good puncher, but he wasn't that great of a. He was more of a volume puncher. Vladimir, the one that could sting, that could put you out for one shot. But his beard wasn't that great. Later on, it got great, better. Like much like Lennox Lewis. But I think that's that European style type of fighting. I know that what's his face? Emmanuel Stewart told his guys to stand up like this, tall, be tall, but they ain't took they got to stand up, take the fucking chin in. And they didn't do that to keep your chin tucked in. They didn't do that. But I'm gonna tell you what, they learned to do a little bit of that later, and later on, Vladimir's chin got better. But Tyson Fury defeated Vladimir before he was ever defeated, even though by then he was starting to show some rust. Somewhat. Not rust, but some age. A little, just a teeny bit. And Tyson Fury took advantage of that. Of course, he was on PEDs, but I don't know if that played a big part in that. Tyson Fury is a master boxer. People say, "Oh well," I mean, look at this guy. Okay, let's say he's not as fast. He's fast, very fast, not as fast as Ali. No, but if Ali was 6'9", 270 pounds, would he be as fast as he was? I don't think so. He'd be much like a Tyson Fury. And a lot of look. I'm gonna be real. I'm what they call a black nurses. I dressed in black, and we deterred drug dealers from selling drugs around children in projects, putting our lives at risk and our freedom because we want to do anything to keep these guys from selling that shit in front of these kids. Okay. So I'm a black nationalist, I stood against the police before, stood up against the police. Backed them down, we did. Years ago in the 90s. But I'm going to tell you this. I try to be real when it comes to boxing, okay? When it comes to, you have to, Tyson Fury is a poor man's Ali, meaning he's a gypsy. Ali was black. There's a level of discrimination against gypsies in England. There was a huge older oppressive weight of discrimination against Ali in the 60s and blacks. It can't compare. I don't know about what it was in the past, but now it cannot compare. But yes, Tyson Fury is discriminated against in England as a gypsy. In America, he's a white boy, white man. England, he's a gypsy and Irish. The British tried to exterminate the Irish. Seriously, that potato famine was not just because potatoes wasn't taking root in that ground. The English purposely tried to destroy the potatoes to make the Irish leave, and they did. There's more Irish in America than in Ireland today. There's about 30, 40 million Irish in America and about 2, 3 million in Ireland. Go figure. But anyway, what I'm saying is Tyson Fury likes to compare himself to Ali. There's a superficial, and more than superficial, There's a reminiscence, not an actual parallel comparison, because Ali was not a drug addict. Ali was not an alcoholic. I don't think Ali had mental problems when maybe he was a narcissist. Okay. Ali was much faster than Tyson Fury, but he was what, 6 inches, uh, 50 pounds lighter or more. So yeah, Ali did some of the same. Tyson Fury did some same things Ali did. He beat the big hard punching bear and Vladimir Tyson Fury. Ali to take the title. Ali beat Sonny Liston, the big hard punching bear, to take the title. Ali came back 3 years later after exile in the ring, but it took him 5 years to get the title back. Tyson Fury came back, what, 3 years after he was exiled, and he fought a draw with Wilder, and took him 4 years to get the title from Wilder. So yeah, there's some comparison there. You can't lie about that. Tyson Fury is a master boxer. He gets knocked down, but he gets back up, even from Wilder. Ali, people thought he had a weak chin because he got knocked down by that Henry, well, the fuck, in England with a left hook, and almost didn't get up. But Ali took some punches from some of the hardest punching men in boxing and got up ever. Tyson Fury got knocked down by a couple of guys, a cruiserweight who wasn't really a hard puncher, and also he got knocked down by another guy in England who Americans would consider a powder puff, just like the guy who knocked Ali down in England. Americans would not consider that great of a fighter. And they thought Ali had a weak chin. They thought Tyson Fury had a weak chin until Wilder put him down and he got up. Nobody ever gets up from Wilder. I don't even think Ruiz will be able to get up. I don't know. Maybe. Ruiz has a hell of a fucking chin. And so there's some comparison. But Ali threw slapping punches sometimes, but Ali didn't take the glove halfway all the way off his hand and hit with his heel of his hand. But I'm not saying, but I don't consider that as a reason why Wilder did not win that fight. But that right hand non-padded knuckle glove, yeah. But still, if Wilder knew how to move his head a little bit and knew a little bit more about the fundamentals of boxing and knew how and that type of thing, that wouldn't have. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it. This motherfucker got a glove on with his knuckles, and you at a big disadvantage. But outside of that, if Tyson Fury can cut that goddamn cheating out, he can go down as one of the greatest boxers, heavyweights ever, and his name could be next to a Muhammad Ali. His name could be next to a Lennox Lewis. His name could be next to a Rocky Marciano. His name could be next to a Joe Louis. He supersedes the man that he's named for, Tyson. Tyson was at a disadvantage because of his height. When I first saw Tyson, I thought he was great. His head movement and everything, but I knew he was limited and could only go so far because of his height in the heavyweight division. That's just the way it's fact, bro. That's the way it is, folks. But I'm excited for this fight. Tyson Fury has signed a contract to have a third installation with Wilder. I don't know the reasons that fell through, but it did. And now they're in arbitration to see how much set-aside money Tyson Fury is going to pay Deontay Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua. Now, I'm a Wilder fan, and I really like Wilder. I didn't like Wilder until the second Ortiz fight, and the way he punched that boy, it seemed like a pin. I said, damn, this motherfucker got something. I became an instant Wilder fan, and it's hard for one to get back in there with Fury, a man who outboxed his boxing trunks off, even though I thought, yeah, it can be called a draw because of 2-point system. 2-point system when you knock a guy down. The 10-8, 10-8 uh, uh, scoring over a guy. He had 2 of those. That's four rounds right there. There's no way that Fury could have made that deficit, even though he outboxed him for most of the rounds. Some of those rounds are really close. But Wilder can knock any motherfucker out in any generation of boxing. Okay? I think he had 10, he's had 10 defenses, even though this is one. If you're not Wilder, and if your name ain't Wilder, Fury, Joshua, I'll put Dylan White in there a little bit. The cat who not fucking Povetkin, them guys. It's some decent guys in the heavyweight division. This is a silver era. It can turn into a gold. It's turned into a golden era because Joshua has got. You got Ruiz. Ruiz is tough. I knew Ruiz was tough when he fought Joshua. I said, look, don't estimate Ruiz. If you go back and look at my video back then, you'll see I said that. I went watching Ruiz. He's tough. He went the distance with the first guy that Joshua went the distance with. And many people thought he won that fight. Ruiz won that fight. I knew that was not going to be no walk in the park. And I am very excited to see Joshua and Tyson Fury fight. I don't know where it's going to be at. I got to keep watching barbershop conversations to find out. Kudos to you, barbershop conversations. I think it's going to be in Saudi Arabia or Philippines or something. I don't know. But anyway, both men are said to be getting what amounts to 100 million American dollars, about 70 million pounds in English, British dollars. That's a huge amount of money. Both guys can just retire after that. I wouldn't. I would keep fighting to get as much as I could, though. Because that shit in this era, in this time, and with this inflation, because America again is on a pyramid scheme system with the money, where they borrow from the Federal Reserve money that's not even there, so they're always going to be playing catch up. But yeah, that's like years ago, it was unheard of to be getting $100 million in the ring. Okay. Now, a millionaire is like being $100,000 heir. You got to be a billionaire now to be what a millionaire was years ago. Damn near. But it's so much room in the millions, you have to be like a 10 millionaire, $10 million heir to be what a millionaire was. But it's a lot easier to become a billionaire today, and they could parlay that money over and actually become a billionaire. Look at what Floyd Mayweather, damn near a billionaire from boxing when he stepped out of the ring. But he had to fight till he was damn near 40. And if I was Joshua or Fury, that's what I would be doing. Oh, Wilder, get as much as you can, guys. Especially Wilder with that pretty wife. You know, the beautiful women eventually leave your ass and take your money and make you pay child support and alimony and everything else. So you gotta get as much as you can, and then hide half of it and shit that they can't find, like Bitcoin, and hope that your shit that you don't lose it all in Bitcoin. But if you lose it all and keep some in, eventually you'll gain that back and more. Bitcoin ain't going nowhere. That chain money, whatever chain length or whatever the fuck they call it, it's not going nowhere. It's just going to get bigger, like baby's kids. But that's an interesting fight. Who I think will win that fight? You know what? If Wilder don't come in with his gloves all. I mean, I'm Fury don't come in with his gloves all pieced up, all fucked up, and missing foam, whatever the fuck, hair in his knuckles. He's not gonna be able to punch hard enough to really affect Joshua that much. I don't think. But you never know. Tyson Fury can call up forces within himself, and he might catch Joshua and hurt him. Because Tyson Fury is a fighter, he's a survivor, and has a strong will and mind. He's going to be outboxing Joshua, but Joshua can box too. And Joshua has more power than Fury, much more. But Joshua must learn how to fight on the inside. He needs to start right now, learn to fight on the inside, learn to bully for Fury. Fury is strong as hell too. Don't get it twisted. Fury might be stronger than Joshua. Because I know there's a lot of guys, cock strong, built like that. I boxed, they were shorter than me, but I was stronger than them. Stronger than them. Because that height and that length gives you a strength. Now, if you a strong man and you blowing a big giant ball or something, shortness gives you an advantage. And if you're lifting something, since if your arms are short, it's a shorter distance the lift. But that leverage, once you get going, nothing can defeat it. But Joshua can ring anybody's bell, and unlike Wilder, Fury has to worry. Don't just have to worry about that one big punch. Joshua has a plethora of an offense. He has a lot of offensive tools that he can use against Joshua. Oh, you want to come back in? Hold on, let me finish this. He has a lot of offensive tools he can use against Joshua. There's nobody here on my live stream. That's okay. If I keep it up, maybe I'll get somebody to come in and give the kid a donation if you like what he's saying. That's gonna be a hell of a fight. That's gonna be a hell of a fight. But Joshua's gonna have to learn how to fight on the inside. Because Fury can already fight on the inside for a big man. You saw when he fought Otto Wallen. But Otto Wallen hurt Fury in the 12th round, hurt him bad, and Otto Wallen did not know that. And he didn't see it because Fury's a good poker face bluffer. And Fury's corner didn't catch it. If Otto Wallen could hurt Fury, Joshua can put some combinations together and really hurt Fury. If Fury do what Ruiz did and fire and counter Joshua while he's throwing punches, he can do some damage, but Fury cannot punch as hard as Ruiz. And Ruiz is not the hardest of punches, but he can pop. He's a good puncher. Fury is a subpar puncher. I don't care what he did to Wilder. Even if he come forward on Joshua, he's gonna get knocked out. He's not gonna be able to come forward on Joshua like he did with Wilder. Because Wilder just has that right hand, that's straight. That's it, and that's a shame. He should develop more than that. If he developed just one or two more punches, he'd be one of the greatest heavyweights who ever lived. Because he would knock everybody the fuck out. But Joshua can fight, but Joshua better not try to fight Fury on the back foot. He got to get inside on Fury. He got to get more head movement, keep that head off center, and come in. He got to almost channel his Joe Frazier and come in with feints and right hands and shit like that. Jab, feint with the jab, right hand. He got to mix that shit up to beat Fury. Because Fury does a lot of things like that and shit, but he always ducks his head down. And I know they're going to try to train that out of him for Joshua, but I don't think you can. That's too much a part of his game. A part of his game, I'm saying that right. he may get it out. He may get it out for a lot of the fight, but eventually he gonna forget himself and say whoops, and that's when Joshua used to say, whoops, whoops, too. Come with that uppercut, left hook, come down, right hand, jab, body, feint to the body, uppercut, hit him to the body a couple times with the hook, then do what Joe Louis had called dead on his ass when he fought the Cinderella Man. And what he did was he was catching him to the body, that hook to the body so many times, and then it was like a feint almost, but he followed through, but he didn't actually hit him in the body. He grazed and then came real quick with that fucking right hand. Because he was hitting him to the body so many times, when the guy thought he was going to the real man thought he was going to the body, even just a little bit of this, just a little bit of that, a little bit. That's all he needed. And you don't throw that right hand hard, you throw it quick, right cross, quick. Bam. The motherfucker, like he was waiting, looking for a bed to lie on. His head was step up like this. Cinderella Man was out. That's why Sugar Ray Robinson would hit you in one spot all night long, like he did Jake LaMotta in that last fight. I'm sure almost that Jake LaMotta's ribs was broken or bruised because Jake LaMotta is not a guy who's when you in the he's not going to keep his what's it? I think his right hand down or left hand, whatever, left hand down low to protect that area. He could not raise it up no more because of them body punches for Ray Robinson. Ray Robinson hit him in the same place, just like the same way Stipe did. What's his face? Last time he fought him in the UFC. I was trained by the same trainer that trained Stipe, by the way. And when I see him fight, it's almost like I used to fight. So if I use the jab more. But Stipe is my favorite UFC fighter ever. Favorite MMA fighter ever. But anyway, he kept hitting my man, Cormier, kept hitting my man to the body. Kept hitting him to the body. The same spot. He did not change up. He did not hit him anywhere else but that one specific spot. You take a little drop of water and it'll wear a boulder away in time in that one spot. And then he hurt him, and Cormier dropped his hand. Stipe went upstairs. It was too late. It was like a slaughter after that. They had to stop it. That's what Joshua could do. I don't care how tough Wilder Fury is. If a man with the power of Joshua, if he keeps hitting him in that one spot in the body, one spot, that liver shot or the rear, wherever he picks, eventually he gonna wear Fury down. And then when he go upstairs, Fury gonna be too worn out to withstand the onslaught. The key is you can't catch Fury with one punch and think you're gonna stop him. You have to put it on him. You have to wear him down and stop him. Same way with Joshua. You got to wear Ruiz. I think it was 7 rounds, 4 rounds, 7 rounds, wore him down. He was beating him up, but he didn't just. And even still, Joshua, he didn't knock him out. Joshua, I believe, was still able to fight a little. Maybe he would have got hurt. I don't know. What Fury's gonna have to do? He's gonna have to keep that jab and keep a distance all night. He do a lot of feinting, but he got to feint like that and shoot that right hand. Joshua he's like Joe Louis guys. Punchers like that can be caught with right hands. Never fails. Boxers like Ali, left hooks. But whoever exhibits the game I just gave you the most and best is going to win that fight. I want to say I think Fury gonna win, but it's something in Joshua. I think but Fury wants to go down as one of the best fighters ever. Fury not necessarily don't like boxing, but when he's in that ring, he's not gonna quit. I was like that too. That's why I never fought. But when you got me sparring, and when the few fights I did have, I was not going to quit. And I only lost one because my elbow popped out, and the guy decisioned me. But that's going to be a hell of a fight. Who do I look to win? Both men are strong-minded. I want to say Fury is more strong-minded, but they're about the same kind of strong-minded because Fury always used gimmicks and tricks to win. Even though he don't have to, he's a great fighter, and I think he could outbox Deontay Wilder 3 out of 4 times, and Wilder would knock him out 1 out of them 4 times. So, okay, I'm getting ready to go now. My son I think he want to get in here and use the TV, and ain't nobody on here, no way. Nobody on here to donate no money to me. So, peace until next time. Oh.